Hello, my name is Trong, and this is my screencast for Homework 2. A quick synopsis of all the coding work that I kind of did for Homework 2 to implement the crude before I get into the technical and showing part is that mostly I used the template that we had from Team Project 1 and just made all the implementation changes from what we already had in terms of question and answer already kind of being there, and mostly more or less just rewriting the code and making sure it would work with an answer list class and a questions list class, which is what I did with questions. Keeping questions kind of is the same as it just works as the question class. My questions required a lot of rewriting that I needed to do to actually have it function correctly to be able to delete questions and store them correctly. For answers, I had to make another class called the My Answers page to actually have a working answers class, and it should technically everything is have been tested has been tested already and works correctly. And lastly, I just made sure that database is correctly up to date and had to make sure all the stuff in terms of how the table and SQL stuff was set up so that everything could flow correctly, and that I was actively updating the databases within the code to actually store and update all the changes I made. So with that out of the way, let me just get into the show instead of tell part. So in my first implementation of the crude, which is create, no, well, for the questions at least. For the create aspect, I was able to get the question to correctly, questions correctly I can correctly make questions. So simple question of how do I download applications? I will simply post that. And now my question has been posted. It should be able to be read. So the R of crude, it can now be read. And secondly, the U of crew is that it's been updated correctly to the database, so you can actually see it for where it is. And lastly, the D, the delete, you can actually delete the question as well, making sure all these flow smoothly. So if I click here, it will delete the question. And that was my implementation for the crude within the questioning and question list implementation of the code homework. For my answers, you will go to all and resolve, and I will be able to answer and submit my answer to a question here. So let's see, on question 17, can't download Java XX. You can simply ask, have you tried downloading it? Will be my response to the question. Not like directly, but as an example, have you tried downloading it? And as you can see right here, I will get submit the question. I will get a confirmation that the question has been correctly submitted to the database. And from there, I can see if it's been correctly updated into the database using the My Answer feature, which is my answer list class that I made to actually implement and update correctly, applying all the same crude the question had to the answer part. So both question and answer have a create, a read, and an update feature alongside delete answer, which as you can see right here, I can then delete the answer of the question, implementing the deletion feature within crude. And lastly, and smallly, just something that I also was able to test out and work out correctly in the homework was for the messaging list, is that I can actually send and actually receive. So I can create messages and update messages that I can receive from other students, which is something that me and my team were working on a bit ago, earlier in the phase, and I was actually able to get it up and running correctly. So right here, I will send a message to one of the other students account I have. And I will say, "How do you do? How do you do, friend?" And I will simply send that, and in which case I will log out and I will see if I correctly can read and update the message I have just received from the student. So I will now log into TM Hw2. Hopefully I can do it first try. It's hard for me to remember all the passwords in my head. Sorry. Students. All right. And as you can see here, I will click the uh, message list. As you can see, I am able to correctly read and have my messaging updated correctly from the user, implementing basically almost all of the crude for this messaging list, but this was just something I wanted to try. Most of the crude was focused all around the questions, as you can see. Question 212. As you can see, everything works correctly for the crude as I can create, read, and update and delete my questions. And the same can also be said for answers as well. So thank you for watching my screencast, and I hope you have a nice day. How do I stop?